And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's review of a event that occurred on Friday from Ring of Honor called Best in the World 2019. I'm going to go ahead and do a review on this. I'm going to try to make it as short and as sweet as possible. This show was actually very bad. I will go on record as saying that the show wasn't exciting whatsoever. Most of the matches were very dull and boring. I do believe during the middle of the show at some point, fans were actually exiting the arena because they just weren't that interested. I mean, not everybody, but there was a section of people that actually left the arena because I'm assuming, like myself, they were pretty much bored of it. But I didn't really see any value in this pay-per-view. It really wasn't one of their best pay-per-views they've ever done. By far the worst, quite frankly. And it really sucked. I just did not get into it. I was staring mostly at my phone. They were better than WWE. I'll give them that much credit because of the fact they were providing wrestling. They were actually giving us a wrestling show type format instead of a fucking 3-ring circus. So I will give them that. So the first match on the card was Dragon Lee versus Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle picks up the victory here. Just to give you guys an overall rundown of what happened in this matchup in case you guys never seen the event when it happened live or watched a replay of it. So Dragon Lee comes out hot with a drop kick, sending Castle into the turnbuckle. Corner drop kick, another one, early cover, Castle out at 2. Lee sends Castle to the outside. He goes for a Topcon Hilo, but Castle moves and then shoves Lee into the ring post. Lee nails Castle on the apron from the inside of the ring. He runs for a apron Frankensteiner. Castle turns into a apron powerbomb. He keeps the pressure on, dumping Lee into the first row. This matchup was quite good. I will give them that. This opener to the show was actually a very decent show, at least for this opener. Dalton Castle picks up the victory here at the end of all of this. Just skipping ahead a little bit, he actually does a rush type maneuver. If you guys actually watch Ring of Honor, Dragon Lee's brother or relative, Rush, actually finished him off in the Ring of Honor / New Japan Wrestling G1 Supercard in April in less than a minute, and the match ended. So he wanted revenge, so he went after his brother instead. So he goes ahead, or relative, I should say. I don't know specifically if it's his brother or not because I didn't remember exactly what they said. I wasn't paying attention so much. As you can tell, I didn't pay much attention to the show because it wasn't all that entertaining. But this matchup, nonetheless, was a very decent matchup. Castle picks up the victory. Just to get into it, so he does a thrust knee. Lee sets Castle up, running knee. Lee argues with the referee, allowing Castle to nail a short arm lariat. Bangarang connects, but he doesn't go for the cover in order to mock Rush. Castle sets Lee up in the corner, running drop kick, and that'll do it. And that's pretty much what happened here. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Very decent opener overall. The next match after that was Jenny Rose and Kelly Klein versus Mandy Leon and Angela Love. This matchup was based on the fact that Angelina Love and Velvet Sky with this new lady, Mandy Leon, who's been on Ring of Honor for quite some time. Was originally on this. This matchup was average at best. Mandy Leon and Angelina Love won this match. This I would give a 2.5 out of 5 stars, just to give you guys some overall aspect of what happened here. Brawl from all four women. Start out, Rose and Klein gain the upper hand, stomping Love and Leon down in the opposing corners. They whip Allure into each other. Those are that's the faction name of Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, and Mandalorian. So are left in the ring. Okay, so they whip the Allure into each other and then follow that up with a double lariats. Eventually, order is restored, and Love and Rose left in the ring. Love get a boot up on Rose's charge. Klein gets tagged in. She and Love have a stare down before they tie up. Intense grapple. Klein with a waist lock takedown. Love shows off some night mat wrestling skills to apply a hammer lock. She shift to a headlock. Klein gets bounced off the rope. Shoulder block from Love. Klein fires right back with an arm drag and a shoulder block of her own. Klein with a power slam attempt. Love slips behind to hit it with a neck breaker, so on and so forth, and eventually it leads up to a super kick from Love, cover, and it's over. And that's pretty much it for that matchup. So the match was just back and forth action with a super kick to end the match altogether. That's all there was to it with this. Jay Lethal versus Kenny King. Now this matchup was a very good, entertaining matchup. Very stylistic match between these two. And at the end of the day, Kenny King actually picks up the victory with his Royal Flush finishing maneuver, and King wins. And that's pretty much the overall gist. Overall, this matchup went back and forth. A lot of good maneuvers, a lot of good technician wrestling involved. Both of these men put on a good match here. This match, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, most definitely. Following that match was the Silas Young versus Jonathan Gresham in a Pure Rules match, which actually is a very, very intriguing matchup that they presented in this pay-per-view. Excuse me. The rules of this match is they could only do 3 rope breaks per person. They could not hit each other with a closed fist. They had to hit each other with open hand attacks. They could hit each other in the body with punches, but not in the face. The other thing that they could do is that they were... I'm trying to think what the other rules were. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the overall gist of the matchup, and it had to be done by pinfall or submission. Once both men have reached 3 rope breaks, their rope breaks are over. At that point, rope breaks don't matter anymore. There is no more rope breaks, which I actually really liked and played a very strong role into this matchup and how it finished up. Both men ended up getting the rope breaks. They used their technician wrestling maneuvers on each other to provide those rope breaks, making it very difficult in the end for, if there is a submission hold in this matchup, that they would be fucked. And they would have to either tap out or have a bone broken or figure out a way to get the hell out of the hold, which at the end Silas Young loses because of the octopus abdominal stretch move that Jonathan Gresham provides in the end of this match. This style of matchup was slightly boring. The crowd was not highly into it, and I understand why, but the concept behind it was very intriguing, and very interesting to me. It provided some kind of old school style mentality. It had there was a strategy involved by both men. They were trying to figure out the best way to get rid of the rope break so that they'd have a better advantage over their opponent, which I understand. I think that was a very important part of this matchup that made it very intriguing. The problem with it is that the action was not all that impressive. It was pretty cut and dry. That's the downfall about the match, but the concept behind it was very interesting nonetheless. At the end of the day, Jonathan Gresham also hit a low blow because the referee was distracted by the apron being all up in the ring, and he was trying to move it back. Sorry about that. That was my headset hitting it in my hand. He was trying to get the apron off the ring and put it back on the outside and let it dangle down the way it normally does. And while his attention wasn't in the middle of the ring, Jonathan Gresham took an advantage because Silas Young, building up to this event, was doing all those kinds of things. So he decided to hit him with a low blow and put him in the octopus abdominal stretch hold and win the match, and that was the end of it. So that was pretty much the overall situation that happened in this match. I felt this matchup was a really decent and very entertaining matchup nonetheless. So I'm going to give this match another 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's just my feeling on that. Then we get the Briscoes, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe versus Nick Aldis and Eli Drake. Originally, Colt Cabana was supposed to tag team with Nick Aldis, but he suffered a injury, Colt Cabana, so he was replaced by Eli Drake. Eli Drake made a surprise entrant as a surprise partner, and he was announced during the pre-show. He was the guy that wanted to join in to this match. Originally, James Storm wanted in. He's with NWA with Nick Aldis, but Nick Aldis and James Storm do not see things really eye to eye with each other. This eventually led to a no contest anyway because James Storm was on commentary as a guest commentator, and Eli Drake decided to take some water and spit on Jay Briscoe, and Jay Briscoe moved out of the way, and it fell onto James Storm, and James Storm took it personally, and he attacked Eli Drake, making it where it was a 2-on-1 assault, and it eventually led to a no contest. Otherwise, the action itself was fantastic. It went back and forth. It was very entertaining. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a solid matchup. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. From there, we had, let me see here. We had Shane Taylor versus Bandino for the ROH Television Championship. This matchup was absolute garbage. Boring. Very, very annoying matchup. It had no element to it. It did not grab my attention. It was just flat and it just sucked. This match was a 1 out of 5 stars. I had no interest whatsoever during this matchup. It did not catch my attention. Shane Taylor retained his championship. That's that. I'm not even going into anything else during this matchup. There was nothing in this match that was even worth even watching. It's a skippable match. Villain Enterprises versus Lifeblood and PJ Black for the 6-man tag team titles, which were turned into the Villain Enterprises custom-made 6-man tag team titles. This matchup was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible either. I actually would give this match a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It just was not something that caught my attention. Again, it was flat out boring. There was nothing about this match that went all out crazy. The Villain Enterprises and Lifeblood with PJ Black wasn't... It just didn't get my attention. I don't know why. It just seemed boring and dull. And I just didn't get into it. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't horrible. But like I said, it was just a little too boring and dull to me. We later find out that there was actually other people that were coming into this matchup, attacking the Lifeblood, and Flip Gordon comes in. Flip Gordon earlier had a matchup at the pre-show. He actually loses to Rush in his matchup with him. And in this matchup, during this segment of the show, we find out that after Flip Gordon goes to help out the Lifeblood, he's given a shirt to wear and be part of the Lifeblood group. There's a video package that shows on the Titantron and shows that Flip Gordon has decided to join the Villain Enterprises, which gave somewhat of a really decent pop by the audience for the ones that were still there, and it was okay, I guess. I mean, if you're a big follower of Ring of Honor, which I haven't been watching their show week to week, I'm definitely going to start catching their shows week to week now, just to get a general idea and be able to have some kind of emotional investment in what they're providing, to see what everything is about. They do provide very decent wrestling. It's just tonight was this event that they had just really did not click. It just sucked. After that, we move on to the main event with Matt Taven versus Jeff Cobb for the Ring of Honor World Championship. This was actually the worst match of them all. This was a 1 out of 5 stars. This match sucked ass. How the fuck can you have a guy like Jeff Cobb be a fucking kick-ass motherfucker Samoan who's destroying everybody, undefeated, wasn't beat for the Ring of Honor television title, and go on to face for the world title and lose cleanly to Matt Taven, who is a full-blown heel? How you can make Matt Taven in his, I would assume, probably his second or third, made his actual title defense, and make him win by a clean finish is beyond me against a guy like Jeff Cobb. It seemed very it wasn't memorable. It didn't have no kind of excitement with him making that, giving him his first loss. You could see at the end of the match that Matt Taven was really not satisfied with the match. He seemed very disappointed just by the look on his face. As we inch closer to the end of the show, he starts acting out his character, raising the belt in the air. But after the match was over and he was getting off of Jeff Cobb, he really did not feel or look like he was happy with what he did in that ring at this event. Bottom line, I was disappointed with this match. This match did not even entertain me one bit. I had my phone in my face most of the time. This match did not even matter to me whatsoever. Big disappointment with this entire pay-per-view overall. It had some of its good matches, but as the show went on and it dragged down, it was fucking shit and terrible. Boring ass fucking main event, worse than any match that Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin has provided, and it was terrible. Really, it was. That's pretty much the overall gist of this pay-per-view. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to this channel, and leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you on that. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and have a great night. Bye.